Good morning and welcome back to the Adventures of Mac and Anthea. In today's video we're going to be testing what I describe as sort of a semi-pro budget wheel alignment tool. Now this wheel alignment tool is actually from AliExpress. It looks quite well made in the description. I describe it as semi-professional because it's got all the gauges on, it's made out of aluminium. I suspect if you've got a big bicycle shop and you do it for a living, you'd turn your nose up at it. But if you're like me and you're doing sort of DIY bicycle stuff on a pretty regular basis, I think you'll find that this machine should work pretty well. So I think what we'll do is we'll get this machine unboxed and see what we've got to work with. Okay, so this is it. Let's get it open and see what we've got. Okay, so what we have here seems to have 3 alignment meters, a spoke adjuster, spoke spanner, various brackets, and what appears to be the base and the main chassis. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all unpacked, I'm going to lay it out, work out how to put it together, and then I'll bring you back in for assembly. Okay, so that's it all unpacked and laid out. First glance, it all looks really nice actually, better than I thought it's actually going to be. All this is aluminium here, all Allen key bolts in here. These are actually aluminium, there's no plastic there. I think the only real plastic bits I can see are the tips of this clamp here. I suspect that goes on the wheel. And these little attachments have got sort of Bakelite, I suppose you'd call them. Twist knobs on here. Yeah, but on the whole it all looks pretty nice. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and assemble this up. There's a bottom plate that screws on there. I'm not going to film that. I'm sure we all know how to, screw 4 bolts into the bottom of this plate and into this bracket here. I'll get it all assembled as best I can. There isn't any instructions with it, unfortunately, but I can always refer back to the picture in the advert, and sort of figure out how to put it back together myself. Okay, so I'll get this together. I'll bring you back in. Okay, so that appears to be it. It's pretty basic, really. You just screw this bar into here and then mount your gauge on with the Allen key on the top of here. You can change these tips on the end here for whether you want the pointed one or the flat one. They're actually in this bag down here. And then this one again is just this bar screwed into the side of here, tweaked off, and then you just again with the Allen bolts here put the 2 gauges on. I think that's it. I think the only thing is we need to get the wheel off the bike, get it set up on the top here, see how that works, and line it up and take it from there. Okay, so this is the bike we're working on today. This bike I actually designed and built actually for backpacking, but in reality it only really gets used for day touring. The good thing about this is here, obviously with the old style frame, you can get up to a 60 amp hour battery on here, which will give you about 400 to 500 kilometers. So that was the reason behind the old frame and that. The frame is actually the only original part left on this bike now. It's all been modified over time and various improvements made. Now one of the improvements was I got these new wheels. These were replaced 36 spoke heavy duty rims. They were new old stock. I ordered them from England. I think it's from a place called Bankrupt Bikes. They were super cheap. I think I paid 60 euros for the pair of them. And about 15 euros I think actually to get them sent over from the UK to Spain. So super cheap. So I wasn't too upset when the back one was slightly buckled. Now I fitted it and I've ridden it sort of with a slight buckle in. I've had a bit of a play around, to try and straighten it out a bit by sort of putting an elastic band in the pen sort of technique of on the rim to do it, and it's made it a little bit better. But as time goes on, I've made other upgrades. I've got these brakes here now with the longer arms, which means I can apply more pressure, least effort at the lever end. And I've also fitted, if you can see it from here, these adjustable cams. And they've got fine adjustments on the top here. Of course, fine adjustment is no good if you've got a slight buckle in your wheel, because you finally adjust it slightly away, your pads away from your rim. And when that slight buckle hits that, obviously it's going to scuff. So we've got to the point now where I think, okay, we're going to have to buy a decent machine and get this done properly, which is why we're at where we are now. So I think what I'm going to quick get this wheel off and we'll get it onto the machine and see what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to get this wheel off. We're running 2¼ inch tyres, so even with these fully released, these brakes, it's still not going to clear the pads here, so we have to deflate the tyre. Obviously this isn't an issue if you've got a puncher, you can have a flat tyre anyway. And we're off that easy. I've got to say, after struggling for years and years messing about on a table, I bought this stand and it's absolutely brilliant. I fully recommend this to anybody. You know, don't mess about the tables for the sake of the 46 euros I think this cost. It saves you so much time and messing about, you know, it's brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to get this tyre off. I won't bore you with that, you know how to get a tyre for wheel, and we'll come back then and we'll try this wheel on the machine. Okay, so she's in there. A bit of a panic for a minute there because I was looking at this bar here. Obviously that's enormous. I suspect that's for motorbikes, so you've got an added bonus there. You could actually do motorbikes, of which I have a few, to straighten wheels out as well, so that's an added bonus to this machine. What you can do is with this wheel here, you spin that round and you narrow the track of the two bars either side here until it's at the right width. So we're more or less there with that. Okay, so I think I've got that about right now. I've switched out the end of this gauge here for the flat edge one to sit on the rim here. I've left this one pointed, and I've got them set up more or less where I want them. Not quite really sure what this sort of caliper type thing is for, and I've also had to actually tweak up this nut and bolt here a bit just to get this to stay in place and stop flopping down. There's another gauge you've probably noticed at the top here. This is for alignment of a disc. Obviously this isn't a disc type wheel, so we don't need this, but I've just left that on there just so you can see, you know, that it's present and it's there if you need it. So I'm going to carry on and try and align this wheel. Now I want to hasten to add in this video, this is not a how to do video. I shall actually put a link in the description of a guy who does a how to do video with a similar machine to this, not the same, and you can link to that to see how this is done a lot better than I know. This is the first time I've tried it on this machine. The purpose of this video is basically to see the quality of the product from AliExpress and the usability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on, try and get this wheel done, which is quite a way out. If you watch it in a minute there, it's sort of, yeah, it's hitting there. Try and get it back round again to start with, and then get it in line sort of left to right afterwards, and then I'll bring you back in and I'll let you know how easy it was to use and how easy to do. Okay, I've been at that about an hour and a half now, and I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I think it's a case of one of those things you could go on forever, you know, but I've got it all within sort of 0.1 of a millimetre, so I'm happy with that, you know. As for the machine, I'm really impressed with it. It's brilliant. It's pretty easy to use. You need time, you need patience, but I think you'd need that with no matter what you used it on, you know, or whatever machine you use. You're going to have to sit there and persevere with it until you get it right. But yeah, on the whole, the quality is good. Ease of use, especially as the first time I've ever used it, you know, I'm pretty impressed with it. Okay, so I'm adding a section to this video which I've taken sometime after the original footage. The reason for that is after I'd done this wheel and I got it all lined up, I'd actually found that I pulled the centre hub out of alignment. Now they do a special tool for that. It's about another 40-50 quid. I'll put a picture of it up here somewhere so you can see what that is. So even though earlier on in the video I stated this isn't a how to do video, I'd hate for you guys to actually make the same mistake I did with this. So I'm going to quickly show you a quick workaround and then we'll make it onto the outro. Okay, so for demonstration purposes I've just thrown an old wheel in the machine again, and what I did to get around this hub centering problem was all I did is I took a steel rule and measured from the rim of the wheel to the chassis of the machine, and then swapped sides and did the same again from the rim of the wheel to the chassis of the machine. Now in most circumstances, unless you've got a specialised bike, that should be the same measurement either side, so it should be dead centre. That's the way just to do it and spare you having to get that other tool if you don't want to spend the extra cash. However, you do have to be careful because some bicycles, specialist bicycles, are off centre, but that's not the norm, it's the exception. And obviously if you're doing a motorcycle wheel, that's a different kettle of fish altogether as well. Obviously they centre their wheels with a series of spacers, so yeah, you'd have to be super careful if you were doing a motorcycle wheel. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that video there. I won't bore you with putting all the back wheel back in again and adjusting up all the brakes and everything. I'm going to leave a link to this machine down in the description. I am affiliated to AliExpress, so I will make a small commission, but I never recommend anything that I haven't personally tried, you know, or used myself. So it is a genuine review of this wheel alignment tool, which, you know, I think is pretty good. So I think all that remains, thank you for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.